is Module 1, study guide for the end of the module test. So you have a copy of this here. You are going to use a place value chart. Yes, you must use the chart to explain why 4.56 times 10 to the second is equal to 456, and why 456,000 divided by 3 is equal to 456. So why are they the same? Why are they two different problems, but they give you the same answer? That is what you're trying to prove to me. So what I have done is I used the place value chart at the beginning to show you how you use the place value chart. So just drawing the lines and showing me that it's 10 to the second is proof. You are proving to me you understand which way the decimal moves and why. Then over here, I labeled my place value chart and I showed why dividing by 10 to the third creates 456. So just by using the place value chart and showing me the 10 to the second versus divide by 10 to the third, why that number ends up exactly the same. Now, the next part of the study guide is explain what you did. So that means when it says explain, you actually have to explain with words. So I have copied the problems exactly the way they are in the test. So if you can successfully do this, you will do very well on the end of the module test. Now explain. Now, so I'm going to start here. 4.56 times 10 to the third is equal to 456 because when you multiply any number by 10, 100, or 1,000, your number gets bigger. Then 456,000 divided by 10 to the third is equal to 456 because when you divide by 10, 100, or 1,000, your number gets smaller. Remember, I've been saying that the entire module. You have to be able to explain it. You have to be able to say this exactly. Then the next part, this is the part people get a little turned around on. Problem 2, use an area model. Oh, area module. I need to change that to model to explain the product of 4.5 and 5. So that means I'm going to use this box as the area model to explain 9.4 and the product of 9.4 and 5. I'm using this box to solve it. You have to solve the product of 9.4 and 5 using this box. Then you need to write the answer in standard form. Remember, that's just the numbers. Then you need to write it in word form. That means you have to write the same number out in words. Then expanded form, you're pulling the number out and you're showing me all the place values. So this is what it's going to look like. So here is 9.4 times 5. So here is my area model. Here is my number. I'm using it to show the product of 9.4 and 5. So 9 times 5 is 45. 4 times 5 is 20. Well, I know I can't have two numbers in my place value, so I have to add 2 more over to my 1's place value. So 47 plus 0 is 47. Standard form, it's 47. Word form, 47. Expanded form, 0 plus 7. Next, you are going to, this whole page, here is a place value chart if you need it. And I'm telling you, if this is not intuitive for you, absolutely write the numbers out. The people that are the most successful at solving this page actually write out the numbers. So we have, this is using word form. This is using expanded form. So you're going to compare and contrast using your compare and your contrast symbols to tell me which number is greater. Greater than, less than, equal to. All right, let me show you how I use the place value chart so that I can see exactly what my number is, and that made it easier to compare. Notice 7 tenths plus 4 hundredths, it's 0.74, is definitely smaller than 75 tenths because 75 tenths is 7.5. Write it out. Number 4, I used the place value chart. I went 1/18 tenths, which is 1 and 8, 0, plus 6 tenths and 5 hundredths. I added it up, and then I was able to compare it to 4.15. Then here, I used the place value chart again. I added these up using the place value chart to see that 7.31 is greater than 6, and remember the word and means the decimal point, 6 and 14 hundredths. Then coming down to 6, 7, and 8. This is I had to solve by using by pulling it apart, solving it individually, and then putting the numbers together. So I had 7 plus 1.4 plus 0.61. So I added up 7 and 1.4, and I got 8.4. So I came over here and went 8.4. I always add the 0 to balance it out. Plus 0.61 is 9.01. So I could see that 9.01 is less than 13.415. Then on number 7, so first I solved the problem, and then I came over here and put them together. So over here, it's 28 plus 1.5 plus 0.004. I came over here, added it up, and found that 29.504 is greater than 28.54. Lastly, so see how I'm taking it little by little. I'm solving it little by little, putting it together. Then problem 8. So I had to solve for this problem and solve for this problem and put it together. So I had to move the decimal, which is 90, and then I had to add it to this 90, and I got 180. Over here, I had to, it's just 10 to the first. I just moved it 1 plus, so there's my 4, and then added it to 0.9 times 10 to the second, and ends up being 90. This is 94. So 180 is greater than 94. Then we have our word problem. Dr. Emmanuel was making a top secret formula. He mixed 14.325 grams of chemical A and 3.42 grams of chemical B and 7.705 grams of chemical C to make 4 batches of his top secret formula. Part A. Now, this is very much like the homework and the lesson we did yesterday. One answer builds on the next answer. How much formula did he make in grams? So the actual, how much did he actually make? That means you're going to have to solve and actually add up the numbers. Now, using the numbers from up here, A, B, and C, you have to estimate the amount of each chemical by rounding each chemical to the nearest tenth of a gram. Then find the sum of the rounded amounts. So you're going to have to put the numbers from chemical A, B, and C from up here. You're going to round it to the nearest tenth and write A is rounded to this, B is rounded to that, C is rounded to this. Then you take these numbers and add them up here. So let me show you what that looks like. So I take my numbers from up here, I add them up, and I get 25.45 grams. That's the actual amount, the accurate amount that he made. Then on the estimating part, I took my numbers from A, B, and C, and I rounded them. So I just rounded them up here. I just looked up here and I went, well, it rounds to the nearest tenth, 14.325. I know that this is going to only round, if this rounds to 3, that just stays 3. Then here, 3.4, well, 2 is just going to keep 3.4. That's going to stay 4. And 7.70, well, 5, that just rounds to 1. That's going to remain the same. So I take my rounded numbers, 14.3, 3.4, and 7.7. I come over here and I add them up and then make sure to include your grams. So this is how much he made rounded to the nearest tenth. Okay. That is basically how the test is going to go. Part C, now we're still working with the same numbers from A and B of this problem. How many grams are in each batch of formula? Look back at problem 9. So, explain the strategy for solving. Round the weight of one batch to the nearest gram. Use the number from C. So you're going to use your number from C to do this part down here. Now, let me show you. How many grams are in each of the batches? So I took the total amount. I took the total amount, 25.45. And I divided it into 4 batches. Because it told us there are 4 batches. That's where I got my 4 from. 4 divide by 25.45. I'm going to go through the process and pull it all the way out. So in each batch, it's 6.3625 grams in one batch. How are you going to explain it? You're going to explain exactly what we just did here. I looked back at problem 9 to find the actual amount of formula. Then I divided it into 4 batches. This is the answer I got. So let me say that again. Explain the strategy. I looked back at problem 9. I found the total amount of formula. Then I divided the formula into 4 batches using standard algorithm. Maybe you use place value strategy. If you decide to use place value strategy, that's your strategy. I use standard algorithm. So you want to say I use standard algorithm. Then lastly, I am going to take this number, round the weight of one batch to the nearest gram. And nearest gram means nearest whole number. So you're going to round to the nearest gram because that would be like meter, gram, liter. So 6.3625 rounds to 6 grams because that is the nearest whole number. So when I say gram, meter, or liter, you're rounding to the nearest whole number. All right, if you can do this successfully, you are going to do fabulous on the end of the module test.